Welcome to the Cookbook, where we invite guests on to share the ingredients of what has helped make them the successes that they are. All of it, the good, the not so good. You're not going to find anything half-baked here. And our kitchen gets messy sometimes. That's when the fun starts. So come on and join us. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cookbook. I'm your host, Iris Goldfeder, and I'm very excited about our guest today because I think she's in Dubai right now, but we'll find out where she is when we talk to her. I love working with international folks because I think it just brings a different flavor to the site, or to the podcast. So I'm very excited about her today. Her name is Laura Patac, and before I start, please click like, share, subscribe below. And at the end, after you've seen this, just leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to introduce Laura. Hey, Laura, welcome.
Good afternoon to you, Iris. Very happy to be here. Thank you for having me, and good afternoon or good evening, or good morning, depending where your listeners are, to all of your listeners and viewers. And let's get this show rolling because we have many topics, and I hope they will be valuable to everybody.
Yes. Well, the show is about, it started out about entrepreneurship, and now it's like the journey to entrepreneurship. So, which I think is really important because, especially now, there are so many people out there that are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs. I mean, it's with the financial climate, they don't want to necessarily work for other people anymore. So, they're thinking about that. But so you and I talked, I don't know, maybe like a month ago or something like that. And I think you were in Dubai. Are you still in Dubai, or are you you're still in Dubai?
Yes, greetings from Dubai. From today, I think we had around like 38 Celsius. I don't know how to translate that in Fahrenheit. I need to Google that, how to translate it. But very hot,
like around 85
very
or
hot,
maybe?
very humid.
Hotter than that. Let me see. So, and you're originally from, is it Romania?
Yes, and originally I'm from Romania, indeed.
Oh, me. Okay. Just so I remember, what's 38 Celsius? I'm just curious now. My listeners are like, it's 100 degrees. That's insane. Okay. That's hot and humid. So that's probably, and you're like a desert. So there's like, is there no water there, or?
Well, Dubai is one of the most dynamic, innovative, and amazing cities in the world. Actually, is on the seaside, and indeed, so if you are going inland, you're gonna get into the desert. But where I am, actually, from where I live, I can see the sea. So I could say that, yeah, I'm living on the seaside, and I'm very grateful to be here in Dubai, especially in these times where, as you said, everyone is trying to make a shift, not a switch, to entrepreneurship. And Dubai is this kind of buzzing hub with many entrepreneurs, different innovations, many brilliant minds. And I'm very privileged to be here because for me, competition is something which is helping you progress and succeed, and I like this kind of dynamics and diversity and the whole cultural piece around, because that's a source of inspiration for me.
That's awesome. And I think competition is healthy, and I don't look at it as competition necessarily, because I kind of feel like there's more than enough to go around.
Yes.
And I think that, people can be more collaborative than competitive.
Yeah. And I was having exactly the same word in mind, collaboration over competitiveness. And there is one element which I would put it out there for everyone to reflect on. And that comes from a very interesting conversation which I had with a friend of mine a couple of months back. And as an entrepreneur, you are a lot in your head. You might share your ideas, your value ladder, the things you are building on with some friends. And I was sharing with my friend the products, the value which I'm bringing. And I was outlining, saying like, you know what, I think that I should still work a bit on the unique value proposition to the customer. And he looked at me and he said exactly like this. He said, you know what? Actually, you are the unique value proposition.
Yeah.
And in that very moment, everything clicked.
Mm-hmm. And the thing with that, though, so that's a positive and a negative. And I hate using the word negative, and I hate using the word hate. So here we are. Okay. So, but the other side of that, right, is that where our value proposition, we are attached to our business. So right now I'm in the process of trying to scale.
Okay.
And the hardest part of trying to scale is to not remove me from my business, but to be able to take a step back. But the issue with that is my clients want to work with me. So when I have people sign on, they don't want to, yes, they work with my team, but they want me to be that main point of contact. Like, they want me to be the person that they talk to all the time, which is fantastic on one level. And then on the other, I can't duplicate myself. So I can't scale yet. I'm working on it. And it's just one of those things that, when we are so attached to when our name and our personality and we are so attached to what we do, it's hard to scale, because like you said, where the value proposition, where the value of the relationship. So I, when I hear people say that, and I know that I'm in that same spot, how about, you, like, if, you get to a point where you want to scale or you want to remove that, like, how do you look at handling that?
Yeah. So I think that I'd like to clarify the term of unique value proposition, because if you are thinking in terms of sales, is like, yes, you are a unique value proposition, customers are buying that. But as an individual, your unique value proposition, it's the sum up of four things. And the first one, which is unique to individual, is your origin story, your past experiences, the stories which brought you who you are right now in this moment. The second unique thing about an individual, it's your future story, your aspirations, the way how you take the steps in order to go to your North Star. Even the two of us, tomorrow we want to climb a hill. Let's say an imaginary hill. To take to get to the top of the hill from point A to point B, you might take the car, I might climb. So the journey, even people, they might have same aspirations, the journey which they are taking is going to be very unique to them based on their abilities and based on the third element in the unique value proposition. These are the individual unique talents. Each and every of us, we have access to a pool of 34 talents. This is not me saying that, it's Gallup Strengths, Clifton Strengths Finder, backed up by a research of over 50 years, where these 34 talents, they can become your strengths if you're gonna use them daily. But the first top 10 talents, actually, they are the ones which you can access, they are naturally belonging to you, and you can access them with very limited effort. It's like you get out of bed, you can access those talents, and if you know them, they become your strengths. Out of the 34, the next 10, actually, they are the ones which I'm calling the reading glasses, where it takes a bit of effort to access them, but it's not impossible. It's like you put your reading glasses when you want to read a book or you want to look closer to something. Mm-hmm. The last 14, I'm calling them the party glasses, because it takes a bit of effort to access them, and they don't come that naturally. It's like, when you go to a party and it's a costume party and you really want to have some glasses, like the funky glasses, you need to go and buy it, match it with your outfit. So that's effort. So these are the last 14. But my message here is that each and every individual, has a set of top 10 talents which they are unique to the individual, and knowing them, naming them, and claiming them, using them every day, that becomes very unique to individual. So this is the third element. And the fourth element, which is very unique to everyone, and this is about your values. The individual values, people are talking top 10, top 5. I haven't met yet people having their top 10, top 5 values totally matching mine. And I think that the values, they might evolve in time, but they are still very unique to individual, because what values are? Values are the way how we are like bringing ourselves through life, the way how we behave, the things which we appreciate, the way how we behave in relationship with others, what brings us together. So to me, when I'm thinking about the unique value proposition, and when I was talking with my friend, he meant maybe from the sales proposition standpoint, but in my head it clicked that if you are thinking about these 4 elements, everyone can bring at the table some very unique abilities, skills, behaviors. And if you are looking to overcoming challenges from a position of strength, knowing your strengths, actually that becomes much more positive, but also empowering.
Oh, I like that. And the thing, when we recognize so I'm going to be doing this. Actually, by the time this airs, I will have already spoken at the Women in Steel conference, but it's coming up in 2 weeks, and it's on authenticity, and it's on right, and it's about that when we wear masks, because it makes other people feel comfortable, we're doing a disservice to us and to them, because they need what we have, and when we cover that up, right, we're not accessing it, but they don't get to access it. And what I found really interesting in when I was, writing up my presentation and everything, was that our unique gifts, say talents, gifts, right? But we each have gifts. And I think that the gift is what the people are looking for. So whether it's a gift of active listening, whether it's a gift of knowing exactly what somebody needs, whether it's a gift of being able to figure out that strategy with, you know what I mean? Like whatever the gift is, people need that. And that's why they come to us, because we have those gifts that they need to solve their problem. So I was assessed as a strategic listener. So when I sit with a client, the front part of my brain, so my frontal cortex, whatever the hell that is like listening, right? So I'm listening, and I'm listening to hear. And that's one of my gifts, is there are so many people who listen to talk, which is really annoying. And you can tell, right? Like when you're having a conversation, you can tell that they're like just waiting for you to finish so that you can say what you want to
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and for me, it's like I want to hear every single thing that you have to say, because while you're saying it, the back here is assessing everything, and I already know what they need. It's freaky, and I'm grateful for it, and I think it's part of my ADHD. But it's just that's how my brain works. And I think ADHD is honestly a superpower. I don't think that it's a deterrent. I think if anything, it helps us see that, like all of the pieces, right, to be able to kind of put it together. So I think that's another gift. But I think that when people reach out to us, right? And I'm going to get to your book in a second, because we all have a story that got us to where we are. And right? And so I think that not I think, I really believe that our stories led us to where we are, which puts us in the position to be able to share our gifts with people. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. So, your first book we're going to talk about, because we're not going to talk about your second book yet, because it doesn't have a title yet. So, but Stories with Purpose, your story has purpose. And I truly, truly believe that, because, everyone has unique stories. And we talked about the, individual value proposition. And I think that that is part of our story, because as we grow,
Absolutely.
as we evolve, right, that all becomes part of our value prop. So talk a little bit more about that.
So I'd like to pick up on what you said about the stories we are sharing,
Mm-hmm.
and the value which those stories bring to others. And I strongly believe that every shared story could shape someone else's success,
Yep.
because there is learning not only for us, but it's also learning for the person listening to the story. But coming to the stories with purpose, your story has purpose too. It started. It started when I was 16. No, I'm not gonna give you my whole life background. But when I was 16, I was an invisible child, present but invisible.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't communicate expressing my emotions very well. I was quiet, brilliant at school, very limited friends. I
We
think
were
that
so different. I'm like listening to you and going, oh my God, like anybody who knows me, it's like, whew, that is not Iris. But go ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I just had to
So
throw that in.
so and I think that we grew up also in different social environments, because I grew up under communism, Romania, a
Yeah.
space where even communication and speaking up was very limited. So that might be also a contributor to my shyness. But anyway, I discovered journaling, and through journaling, I
Oh,
discovered that I could apply an encryption to my journaling, and that became my poetry. So I started to write poetry when I was 16, and my mom and my friends, they connected with my emotions, what I was feeling, what I was thinking, much better through poetry than just me speaking up and openly about my feelings. And that for me was a very interesting process. And I had also the privilege to have a coach at that time. My mom found someone who was able to teach me how to polish my writing, and that actually opened my eyes
wow.
about storytelling. So I came up to the conclusion that any form of art, call it poetry, call it music, call it ballet, paintings, any form of art is storytelling. And stories, they have this power to connect people even if they are not speaking the same language. And I really like using this example of, two people from different countries speaking different languages, being in awe in front of a Monet. And I'll tell you, after 5 or 10 minutes, they're going to look to each other and they're going to smile. And that's connection through art.
Sure.
So what I realized that stories, they connect people.
I love that you use Monet. It's like
One
he's
of
one
my
of my favorite
favorites.
artists. But
I can use also Gustav Klimt, and he's another one of my favorites. So so if you are thinking about storytelling, it's about connection. It's about building that emotional connect between
Sure.
people, but also sharing learnings. So when I started to write my first book 5 years back, the manuscript was very different. It was just a long range and a number of poems. And my initial intention was just to publish poetry. But after that, I said, well, I was thinking about the time when I was journaling, and I said, you know what? Each and every poem had a story behind. But the process was journaling poetry. I said, right now, if I reverse the process and I'm saying, what if I'm going to be adding the story which inspired that poem in the book? And after that, I said, well, these two pieces, they might create a very important space for reflection for everyone reading. And I added two mind-bending questions, which actually, reading the first book, Stories with Purpose, is going to help readers to write their original, authentic story. And to me, I think people, they might think sometimes about, glimpses from their past experiences. But the original story of any person, it's a sum of like 3 to 5 big aha moments in life where actually your life shifted to a certain direction and brought you where you are right now.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yes. I like the way how you are like, yes, this is, I see that. I like that you resonate with what I'm saying. So to me, this is the first book is really helping the reader to through creation of this white space and of reflection, to be able to pinpoint those aha moments in life and to write their own story. The other fun fact, because I did a bit of research before going to this journey and changing the initial manuscript, I was also thinking about what storytelling is, and when, the first story which has been recorded by mankind. And I discovered that the first story known by mankind, actually it's a poem. And it's the poem of King Gilgamesh 5,000 years ago. And the poem actually is the story of a superhero, because this King Gilgamesh was slaying dragons, was doing miracles and everything. So when I learned that, I said, well, no wonder that I have this impulse to really bring poetry as the forefront for storytelling and also for opening the space for reflection, because actually the first story known, it was a poem, and it was about a superhero. And learning and seeing the superhero story, I realized that as as unique our stories are, therefore the learnings which we have, we might both go through the same experience, but the learnings they might be very different.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because
Therefore,
it's how we consume. It's how we
exactly,
digest what we consume, right?
exactly.
So,
And and therefore those learnings which become very unique, it's a superpower for the individual, and it's very unique, and that makes everybody like the everyday superhero. You are the superhero in your life because you have your strengths, you have your unique story, you have your future aspirations, which are also unique. So to me, marvelizing somehow the individual and attributing these unique powers, actually this is not fantasizing, it's pure reality, because I think that nowadays we we live in a world where we really need to engage through empowerment,
mm-hmm,
engaging
mm-hmm.
through empowerment, because people, they should feel more empowered by their story, empowered by their strengths. They will engage different with the life challenges, and they will become much more resilient in face of the
Yep.
challenges when they are coming from a position of strength and learning, instead from a position of weakness and pain.
I want to hug you right now. Like, I wish you were like right here so I could hug you, because it's so true. You know, there was a show on called Supergirl here. Um, and my favorite line from that show is be your own hero.
Exactly.
And we have the when we have the wherewithal, we have that strength. Everybody has that strength in us to be our own hero, to be the own hero in our own stories, right? And to also be the hero for other people. So, right, my marketing agency, I make people be, I help people be seen in the best light that they can be seen. That's my job. And I I don't take it lightly. And I don't work with everybody because I don't believe that I can help everybody, right? I mean, I'm very transparent about that. But the people that I do work with, they are seen in their best light. And I had one of my clients actually, like about a month ago. I helped him out with something, and he was like, "You're my hero," and that stuck with me
Yeah.
because, right? Because it's like when we can be the hero in somebody else's story, it's kind of cool, right? It kind of makes you
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not slaying dragons. We're not slaying dragons, right? I wouldn't do that anyway
Well,
because actually I
we
love
might slay
dragons. So
some, we might slay some dragons once in a while, depending what the dragon is. You know, you might slay a fear, you might slay a bad
yes,
habit. Those are dragons.
well, yes, but if there was a real dragon, I would want it to live because I think they're cool.
Yes,
But
yeah.
but but seriously, I mean, I think that your uh, the way that you approach story. I love that you wanted to include the story behind the poem because it gives those poems so much more, I think, meaning and
Authenticity.
strength, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it comes also with it's a lot of vulnerability behind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of my
And vulnerability is a form of strength.
vulnerability, yes, yeah. So to me, um, I love the way how you talk about your clients and about your team. And just to step back a bit of one, you saying that you know exactly how to put each and every team member on the spot with their talents, and you know exactly how to engage them and empower them. Um it just crossed my mind, and I'm going to say it now. I think that one of your talents, according to Clifton Strengths, it could be individualization. And the definition for individualization is that you understand very easily the potential and the talents in each individual, and you prompt them to the tasks which makes them at their best when they are doing. So to me, that is, I said, Iris might have individualization as one of the talents, and definitely it's a strength because she's talking about it and she does it. So I'll be very curious. To see your top 5 or top 10 strengths. Very curious. Maybe I'm gonna have a chance to talk about my top 5 just for the audience to understand also the way how I am, like a glimpse of me through my strengths. But coming back to the storytelling and the power of storytelling, I think people tell stories over 70% of their time.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Even our conversation is storytelling.
Sure.
Every interaction, let's take corporate world, presentations, board meetings, feedback. Feedback is a storytelling. There is a framework of how to provide constructive feedback and to really enable people to realize how they can use their strengths much better. If you are coming to the personal life, family discussions, when they come around the dinner table, everything is storytelling. What you've been doing today, you tell a story. And I think, out of all the stories we tell every day, 2 stories are very important. And you might smile here. It's your own story, and we discussed about. But there are a lot of stories which we tell ourselves, the self-talk. It's a lot of storytelling happening over there.
Yep.
And to me, that I think that is the most, active one, because when you don't talk, you think, and God knows what's happening here. And my book is talking about the first one, your original story. But I think in one of my next books, I'm gonna start thinking seriously to talk also about this self-talk, which takes a lot of our time, by the way.
And the self-talk, it's so funny because everybody talks about negative self-talk, how we talk ourselves out of things. But there's also the positive self-talk where we're our cheerleader. And it takes time to get there, right? But I have really been working. It's so funny, the first, I don't know, like 8 years of my business or whatever, it was always negative self-talk. Oh, I'm not going to get that proposal. They're not going to sign that proposal. Oh, I'm not going to do this. Oh, I'm not going to. And then my mindset switched. And it was like, of course I'm going to get the proposal. Of course they're going to sign on. Of course they want to work with me. And that mindset shift, holy crap. When you turn that negative self-talk into, and don't get me wrong, I still have a lot of negative self-talk, right? I mean, it's just part of human nature because we always I think we just kind of gravitate toward the negative. But when we can turn that around and make it positive, I think that just changes the narrative, and not just within our heads, because those are the voices we're hearing, but it changes our energy, and then it draws more people to us.
Totally. I cannot agree more about changing the energy, and it's like you reinvent yourself. It's like a transformation. the person,
Yeah.
and the things which you experienced while you're having a lot of negative self-talk. And I think that there is research behind saying that we are somehow we have a pre-setup on the negative self-talk as human beings. So to me, in
Predisposed,
the
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
predisposed, exactly. Thank you, Iris, for that.
You're welcome.
So
I know English
so
isn't your first language. So
yeah, yeah, it's like yeah, pre-set up, predisposed. Everyone will
yeah.
understand what we are talking here. So to me, when you do that, when you do that switch, this is a switch. It's not a shift. You can do
Oh
like
no.
you can really shift, but you really have to switch, because when you do that, everything becomes much more clearer. You are much more engaged with your day-to-day life. You become much more enthusiastic about the next day. And to me, that is an absolute, critical point for everyone. And to me, coming back to the individual talents which could become strengths. And I think that when you know that, and I'll tell you what happened with me in my entrepreneurship journey, because I started my entrepreneurship journey like a year ago. And for the first couple of months, I was around all about, oh my God, what I'm going to be doing. Oh my God, do I have resources? Oh, I don't think that's going to work. I don't, I had a lot of negative self-talk until I reminded myself that, one, I'm a learner. This is my first talent. And I learn fast everything. My second talent, which is a strength, I'm an arranger, which means that I have this ability to maximize the resources and to juggle with multiple things in the same time. So I apply the resources I need to the most important priorities, and I can have multiple priorities in the same time. That's a huge strength when it comes to entrepreneurship. My third one, it's restorative, it's problem solver. The fourth talent, which is strength for me, I'm very responsible, and I take accountability for everything I do. That's why I take accountability for every, the impact which my book is going to have, what I'm sharing. So I'm like very, very responsible and accountable. And the fifth one, I'm strategic. But strategic is not just about that I'm good in doing strategies. As an individual, when I need to move things from point A to point B, is not that I know the how for the plan A, but I'm also having the plan B and C, which means
Sure.
that I'm also assessing risks. So when I went to my Clifton Strength assessment, I said, oh my God, these are my 5. With these 5, I can do everything. This is where I started to get the confidence back. And I started, and when I did that, and when I started to think from the positive, from the strength perspective, for things I can do because I'm a problem solver, everything else opened up.
Wow. Interesting. Now I want to know my 5 strengths. I think it's so interesting because when we work with our strengths that we're aware of, like I said, I was a strategic listener, right? But when we work with our strengths and we use our strengths to not only help ourselves, but to help other people, I don't think it gets better than that. Because
Yeah.
what do we have them for, right? I mean, why do we have these talents? Why do we have these skills? You know, it's 9/11 today, right? That we're filming this. And I did a video because it's weird. Like it hits me differently every year. Some years I get devastated again. Some years, and this year I was reflective. And what I was reflective on was the unity and how we're stronger together, right? So September 12th, the entire world, there were no differences. There was no divisiveness. There was nothing. We were all humans on one earth, wanting to help each other. And when I think of, and I don't know what my top 5 strengths are, but when I think of using what we have, whatever that strength is, and it always goes back to how do we help people? How do we help people be their best version of themselves? How do we help clients and their business be the best version of themselves? How do we become the best version of ourselves? And I think that all comes through those strengths, that you talk about, and story. I think it all goes back to story, because every evolution that we have, right? Because we keep evolving.
Yes.
If we don't, then we have a problem, right? But as we evolve, there's another story. There's a story on what helped us get to that next level. And then we're at that next level. And then guess what? Some more stuff happened. And now there's another story. And I don't think that people equate that enough. Because I look at a lot of content out there, and it's like, some people they've been writing the same shit for 5 years. And it's like, have you not grown? Have you not evolved? Like, where's that? I'm always looking, I'm always looking for that next elevation.
Edge.
And sometimes I don't see
that edge, that new edge.
Thank you. Yes. And it's like, where is it? This podcast evolved. I used to ask, and we talked about this, I used to ask 6 questions, and there are some people that miss it. Sorry. But this turned into its own beast because of my evolution, my comfort level with not needing a script, and to be able to have conversations and ask questions that aren't canned. And so it's very natural. Like, the only question that I said I always try to ask, and I am going to try to get to it at some point, but for the most part, it's because I've evolved. So because I've evolved, the podcast evolved. Because I've evolved, my business evolved. Because I've evolved, our clientele evolved.
People around you evolved.
Because I evolved. Had I not evolved, everything would still be where it was. And then how boring is that? Right? I mean, it's just like, if we don't grow.
I can't say. I think stagnation is one thing which scares me to death. I like stagnation when I have a very good friend of mine, and she's always saying, you know what, when I feel that I stagnate, I feel like a lion in a cage. And that is like, I share that feeling. But I think this is where also people are different, and it's good that we are different. Mm-hmm. Some people might get their value or what they want. Maybe their aspiration is to be in a comfort zone, and that is nothing wrong with that. Right? And people evolve at a different speed, and this is when actually you might leave some people behind, depending how fast you evolve. And we look in relationships; people might evolve differently. What's happening? Divorce, So to me, I think the responsibility for evolution it's also a bit of like individual strategy. So I have my aspiration. I want to evolve. I know my purpose. I know what I would like to bring into the world, what impact I want to have for the people around me. But that it's me. People next to me, they might have different aspirations, and that would be okay because their story, their strengths, their values are very different.
Yep. Right. And that's, I mean, I think that's the whole point, is that everybody has a different story. Everybody has
Unique story.
Experience, right? A unique story. We don't know what somebody's going through at any given minute. And that's why I always say, if you can be anything, be kind, because you don't know what someone's going through. This is like funny, and this is like a little bit off topic, but I had, I just had it up here. I was online at Starbucks in my car, and the guy behind me was just being, the person in front of me was taking forever. And I was just like,
I need my coffee. Give me my coffee.
Well, not just I need my coffee, but it's like, can you move up, like, whatever it was, right? And I see the guy behind me, and his face was red. And so I decided I was going to pay it forward. I was going to buy his coffee for the day. And so, I'm thinking in my head, like, what is this guy's day like? Like, because he's mad. I mean, he's not like frustrated. This guy is pissed off. Like, he's ready. I was just like, oh my, like, I'm looking in the rear, and I have
jumping
sunglasses
over
on,
the counter, preparing his own coffee.
Well, we were in our cars, so thank God we were in our cars.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we were in the drive-through. And I had my sunglasses on, so he couldn't see me watching him, but I watched him go from regular color to like purple, and I'm like, I do not know what happened in this man's day, but hopefully I can buy him coffee and it'll make it better. I was waiting for this car in front of me. We were all waiting, and now the thing is piling up, and probably about 10 minutes. Now, that's a long time for a drive-through, right?
Oh.
So finally the car leaves, and I'm like, oh, thank you. So I pull up, and I go to hand them my app, and she said, no, the car in front paid for you. And I was like, shut up. And she's like, no. And I said, well, I want to pay for the guy behind me. And so she was like,
amazing.
So the fact that there was this, and I don't know,
snowball effect.
I picked up on their energy, or they picked up on mine, or whatever, right? There was this like really cool chain of paying it forward. So they paid for me, which was lovely. And then I paid for the guy behind me, and I leave. And I don't do it for anybody to see me, to thank me. I mean, I pay it forward all the time, right? And I just like leave so that they can't. So I leave, and I'm at the light, and the guy pulls up next to me, and I'm like, oh, shit. So he circles me to roll down my window, like he motions me. And so I press my window, and I lower my window, and I had no idea what he was going to say to me, right? It could have been like anything. And I was like, yes. And he said, you have no idea what this stupid coffee did for me today. And I was like, well, I kind of saw you getting a little upset, so I figured you needed, a little kindness. And he had something really bad. I'm not going to share it. He had something really bad happen to him that day that was adding to his frustration of, why he was getting so frustrated. And I said, I'm glad I could make your day a little bit better. And he thanked me, and he left. And when I think about it, I still get like a whew, because you never know.
You never know
What somebody is going through. And that little act of kindness, and I never would have known, right? Because I don't do it for kudos. I don't do it for, I just do it because,
Because you
that's
feel
who I
like
am.
doing it.
I just knocked my
Yeah.
little panda down. But it turned out that this guy really needed something good to happen, something, and the fact that I was able to do that made my day. I got home and I told my wife, and I was like, how you, because she'll be like, stop spending your money. Obviously, and I'm like, it doesn't matter that they can afford it.
Yeah, it
Right.
doesn't
What
matter.
matters is,
Yeah.
and I told her what the guy went through, that caused everything. And she was just like, okay, I'm never going to say anything, again, because you don't
Yeah.
know. And one little act of kindness, right, can just change the trajectory of
And
somebody's
it's,
story. So we changed his story for that day.
yeah, and I think it changed, not you changed not only his story, but you added to your story too. And that's the beauty of kindness, and even thankfulness. So when you say a thank you, when you do a gesture of kindness, I think it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much time we have, but your
You're like,
story inspired me to tell a story right now. So 1 month ago, I was not in Dubai. I was in my country. It was too hot over the summer here, and I decided to spend some time on the old Europe continent. And on LinkedIn, there is this lady with whom I was not connected that time, saying that, "Hello, Laura. My name is X. I went through to a coffee shop, and they were having this kind of, like, a sort of library. You know how coffee shops right now, they have books and they have everything. And here in Dubai, and your book was calling me from the shelf. Someone left it in exchange, my book." Yeah, so the coffee shop has this rule: you come, you bring a book, you take another book, and so on and so forth. And it's a place where people, they share coffee, they share good time. So it's all about sharing in that coffee shop. And I was like, what? I was like, imagine my emotions, zoom. And first of all, and she said like this: "So your book was calling was calling me from the shelf, and I'm at the page 50, and I found it very therapeutic, and I find that this is the book which actually might change my life." Oh, I was
wow.
like, okay. So
Wow.
I knew when I was coming back to Dubai, and it was also my birthday in August. So I got back around my birthday in August, and I said, I think that I invite her for a coffee. And she was like totally excited. She said, "Oh my God, can I meet you?" I said, "Of course you can meet me." So we've met for a coffee, and we also, I tried to get to know her better. I think we had an insightful conversation on both sides, and it's not just that the book might have an impact on her life, but she had an impact in my life.
Sure.
Because that conversation and the way how she came across, that was the best present which I had for my birthday this year. So to me, it was that kind of like situation when life is giving you the opportunity not only to create impact in other people's life, but those on which life you create impact, they will impact you nevertheless. So that was the very big lesson I learned that day. And I said, oh, it's impact and impact. So, wow. So that is evolution.
Yes, because 100%. And that's how I feel about this podcast. I feel that, I was called to do it. And I don't think in the beginning I was sure, but I know for a fact that somebody out there is listening. And if it's one person, right? But somebody out there is listening to this and they've heard something that has helped them shift their view on something, or has helped them, move to the next level, or has seen themselves.
Yeah.
Or has gotten a message that they were supposed to get. And that's why I keep doing it, because I never, we never know the impact, right? Like when I bought that guy that coffee, I had no idea that,
Yes. Yes.
I knew he was mad, but no idea what the hell happened to him, and that just kind of validated for me why I'm going to continue to pay it forward whenever I can. And I'm always about paying it forward anyway. I run a not-for-profit, I help people wherever I can. That's just, part of my DNA, I think. But on the Starbucks line, to me, that's just my, just pay for the guy behind me, or pay for the girl behind me, or, whatever. Because you just don't know. And this podcast, and, Kofi can attest, this has turned into its own, I say beast, but it's turned into its own, it's evolved into this platform that I never expected. And I'm grateful that I get to do that. I'm grateful that I get to, meet people like you, and then interview people like you, and, where we have, the same value system, we have the same mindset, but also we have different experiences, and then our experiences come together and they produce, a great story like this. So,
well, I was about to say, when our individual unique value propositions collide, actually that collision, it's not a collision, it's a communion. It's like, we understand each other. I think people, even if they are very different, but if they have at least one thing in common, that's a very good starting point.
Sure.
And when our world, when our personalities, our strengths, our stories, they come together, there is this kind of miracle happening, in a sense that you find yourself surrounded by people who are hearing you, people who are like, thinking about you, people who are kind to you and you are kind back. So I think it's very important to attract the people who value your unique value proposition, and that is reciprocated.
Yeah. So we didn't get a chance to talk about your second book yet, but we'll have you back on when it comes out, and then we can talk about your second book.
Yes, the second book, it doesn't have a title yet, so that we are going to decide the title in the next days. I'm very excited about the process of choosing the title. I will have on LinkedIn a poll, I think, on Sunday with 3 titles, and let's see, without saying what the book is about, at least people to vote which title resonates the most.
I have to go look at it.
What happens nowadays. Yeah, I want to do a poll with 3 titles. But the book is it's about individual unique value proposition. And this is helping people to understand the importance for themselves, because that unique value proposition is something which is going to help them to progress, to evolve, to engage, to be more empowered, and to look at life not from a position of weakness, but from a position of strength. And this is what the book is about. And the title, let's see what kind of title the book is going to get. I'm super excited that I'm going to be guided by my community on LinkedIn, and I hope that your community might get to vote. Share the poll which is coming up on Sunday. Let's see what kind of opinions we are getting there. And I also I would like to share a good news with you and with your listeners. In 2 weeks, I'll be very happy to share with your community and your listeners the first book, Stories with Purpose. Your story has purpose too. To share the book for free in a PDF format, and that is going to be a very nice gift for everyone, and also a bit of a preparation for the launch for the second book. So I'll be very happy to share that with you and your listeners.
Well, thank you. That's awesome. And then when I'll be posting this on LinkedIn as well. So when the episode comes out, and you'll know about all that. Thank you so much for joining us. How can people find you?
I'm on LinkedIn. I don't use many social media channels, so LinkedIn is my main social media channel. So people, they could find me there. They're gonna find my books on Amazon, but wait another 2-3 weeks, and the first one you're gonna get it in a PDF format through your channel. So I have in plan to also launch a podcast. And I think, all these experiences, and even this experience with you, Iris, I learned a lot for what it means to be a podcast host. And you are very gracious and very caring and very kind, creating the space for us to have all these conversations, authentic, not scripted, talking about strengths, stories, value propositions. So thank you for that. And I'm looking forward to come back with the second book.
Awesome. And the last question that I ask all my guests,
okay,
and the only one for this one, is what lights your fire?
Every individual I'm meeting in my life, every person I meet and I have a meaningful conversation, I get something out of that. So I think it's the humankind which lights me up.
Beautiful. Laura, thank you so much. I'm going to say goodbye to my audience, and I'll be right back. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out an hour plus. Again, I know I'm trying to keep them under an hour, but it just doesn't work. Just because we start getting engaged, and then the conversation just kind of takes a life of its own. But don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, download the episode, review the episode. Let us know what you thought about it. Let us know you learned. Let us know if something spoke to you, because that's why I do this. Because somebody out there heard something that they needed to hear today. I'm pretty sure of that. I want to thank you all for continuing to listen, so that I continue to get to do this, because this is like my passion project and one of my favorite things to do. So thank you. Don't forget to do all the things. Don't forget to look for the download for Laura's book. We'll be announcing when it comes out. And as always, until next time, go out and find what lights your fire. See ya.